Let's take five. Many of my take fives have been about a person whose performance in my direct experience has inspired me to believe that practice has no ceiling to it and it can be exceeded in any location. But in this case, I'm going to speak of a location, a place called an historical society. We have many of those in Connecticut because it's a very old colony. But in the one I went to the other day, I was moved to hear almost in my head and heart the messages that people from the previous century, even 2 centuries, were sending through the objects, pictures, and even garments that they had left when they passed on, but were collected and preserved in the museum to tell something of their story. So you stand there and you look at a sewing machine. At least some of us remember what those were, and I certainly did because I was looking at a Singer sewing machine with foot pedals that ran needle up and down. And it instantly brought me back to our own Singer sewing machine, and that was there among the three sections of our family, my grandparents, my aunt and uncle, my folks. And in our three very closely tied dwellings, we moved the sewing machine back and forth. And I was just overwhelmed with that feeling of longing and nostalgia to see that machine sitting there in its section of the museum reserved for domestic scenes. I thought, this is what happens when you go to these places. You may see something that'll click with you as your place growing up, because I'm old enough now to notice some of the conditions and materials of my day, of the 40s, are in historical societies now. But still, it's just that feeling of generational growth and development, how people have come to a town, lived in a town, passed away in a town, but leaving the next generation of children, hopefully to stay in the town and keep it going over many, many decades. And that is why I take five for the historical societies of the world, because those are mainly done by volunteers who are constantly having to raise money to keep the lights on, to keep them heated, but also to make acquisitions when there are treasures in the community that have been discovered when someone's household is finally being taken apart to create an estate. And you just have to get to these once in a while to recognize that we ourselves, in our actions on a day-to-day basis, are creating a history for not only ourselves and our families or our businesses, but also for our town, our township, even our city. We are creating its history. And what is left behind when we're no longer living or living there is something perhaps that we've done to the property that we've lived in, or something that we have done for the children growing up in the town as teachers. But we create part of the history of those towns. And that is fulfilling. It means that your practice isn't just the moment-to-moment impact, but what you are accumulating in your wake, if you will, what's you're leaving behind, but leaving behind that could be, in a way, worthy of being in a historical society museum. I'm thinking, what could I possibly be leaving behind of that nature? And I'm thinking, most of what I leave behind are the positive memories of my students, my friends, my family. And if they made a museum for that, then I would be happy to have anyone come and see. I'm very proud of what I'm leaving behind right now. And you will be too if you stop and take 5 and think about it. A while ago, I wrote a book with Stephen Cavallari called Inside Knowledge. In 2025, we still think it resonates. So we've realized a second edition, this time with a new prologue and released exclusively as an ebook. Inside Knowledge follows Dana Gilbert and her time working at the Grand Bay Company and uses her story to highlight the various real-life skills, methods, and characteristics of practitioners at the front lines of organizational life. As conditions change, so must Dana. As you read, you may find you've changed alongside her. Escape into a good story and learn to improve at the same time. Get your copy today, only at mylibrary.world/inside knowledge. Now I'll let you in on a little secret. You can actually get this book at a discount for a limited time. Visit enactionresearch.info and find a special coupon code that you can use at checkout for this ebook. Thanks for listening and considering Inside Knowledge as your next read.